I've got more than 20 years of this stuff in. And I go back to, for me, this cycling thing has been my rediscovery of a lot of, because I had to relearn it, So like when I got into cycling like 4 or 5 years ago, I got to go through what I hadn't been through in 20 years, which was rediscovering what it is to engage in a physical activity that's outside of my comfort zone or outside of what I know to do. And so as you're talking about the focus intensity training, I think about this a lot, and I still write about it sometimes. I'll be on my bike, and I'm getting a clearer understanding of what it means to be in that focus here, to be in that state, to be here every moment, and to find the satisfaction to what was not that long ago horribly painful or arduous or difficult, or like I never needed really, I had social support for training early on, and I became a solo trainer because I wanted to do my own meditative thing. And then when I went to cycling, I had to find social support or I wouldn't do it. So I got social, I got groups, I got programs, I got plans. I had to work it all from scratch and rediscover it,
Right.
And so relate to that movement in and out of things and finding a deeper place,
If you don't mind me flipping the conversation around, I know you've brought this up before about how that first 8 weeks or so of cycling, it took you time. You didn't enjoy it as much at first, but each week you get a little bit more enjoyment and a little bit more enjoyment until you became in love with it, I guess. Now, I like to tell people you should find something that you enjoy. You should be doing an activity. I mean, as much as I love my programs and I know they work, I know it's not going to work for everybody because it's just they're not going to get the same kind of enjoyment out of it as I do. But what would you say to a person, like it took you time to enjoy the biking? And for myself, I look back at, like I've tried yoga, I've tried Pilates. I gave it a try. I did it a couple times. I'm like, this is just not for me. Now you got me thinking with the cycling, maybe I should have gave it a little bit more time but I have such a passion and love for bodybuilding. I guess what I'm just trying to get at is how do we know what we really enjoy, and how much time should we give some things if we're not getting a lot of
there's a huge valid piece in there, which is how do we know what we really enjoy? And I think it's what fits the stages and place in our life, where we are, what we're doing. I went to cycling at a point where I was never going to bench 400 again. I knew that, admit it or not, my PR, strength records, and things. So I was at a stage of life where it's like, how do I find something I'm going to get better at? How am I going to brace? Because it'd be easy to go into cycling and get all the strength out of the way and completely make strength training bad and stop that. I got a friend who's mid-40s also, and he's just become a monster mountain biker, and he's done it through a combination of. He's an ex-bodybuilder too. He's done it through a combination of using explosive strength training and cycling, and he's now winning all these races. Wow. So he's brought the two together for strengths. But to what you spoke about, I think it's too easy so often for people to tell people, find something you love to do, because of what you said. What the hell do you know about what you love to do? You don't really know. It's easy to, I would never love to dance. I've been dancing lately, but I'm finding the place by committing to doing it. I'm finding the place where I go, oh, I get this now. I kind of get it. Cycling was very much that way. Painful, difficult, not a natural strength of mine, blah, blah, blah. What I found was the natural strength of mine is perseverance, determination, driving into the pain zone. One place I've got, I'm still heavier than most cyclists. I'm like on a bike, I'm a big, what's that big muscle guy doing on a bike? When it comes to climbing a hill and stuff, what I can do is I can put myself in the red beyond what most people can do. I can stay in a red zone. I can tolerate a level of pain because of my years with strength training that make most cyclists just wilt.
Wow.
And so I have that capacity, which gives me something to do. But I say you gotta commit to something. You gotta be with it, and there's no right or wrong. That's why I like the seasons of strength, which is I might take a season of yoga. I might decide 6 or 8 weeks I'm going to commit to a practice of finding the piece of yoga that works for me. That doesn't mean I'm going to commit to a lifestyle for the rest of my life of it, but it doesn't mean I give up strength training and cardio. It means that I've got elements of those I'm maintaining, but I'm going to primarily focus on 3 yoga practices a week for 6 weeks to see what the heck comes of it.
Right.
I mean, very few people sit down for a meditation practice and go, "Oh, got that, loved that, that was awesome." You know,
Yeah.
I mean, it's something you do. And you do it with all imperfection, and you go, okay, I know there's something here, and I can't describe what it is, and this may be odd and uncomfortable for some period of time, but I'm just going to submit 10 minutes a day, 5 days a week for 8 weeks, and at the end of 8 weeks, I'll go reflect back, and I'll say, well, that was either a glorious waste of my time, or, well, I think I figured something out. And when you least expect it, you know, a bell goes off, and you're like, oh, I'm kind of getting that. And that's, you know, back to what you said. That's the way cycling was for me. I got it, got a little more, got a little more, got a little more, and all of a sudden I'm like, oh, I get it. I mean, I've, you know, using the FIT practice and getting people's mindfulness, and I've taken yoga practitioners that have been doing yoga for 20, 30 years. I've taken women in their 50s and 60s that have never seen a dumbbell, who wanted to beat me with a baseball bat at the sight of a dumbbell,
Right.
and in an hour and a half turned them into lifetime strength practitioners, right?
Right.
I've seen them 5 years later and have them still lifting weights. Hey, I'm still lifting weights. I love it because they altered their perspective. Sometimes what we don't like about something is some resistance or story we've created about somebody we knew or something we don't like about it. And so we make it bad, and we don't want to be that bad person. And so we've got some weird psychological block to it. So, you find your way. I mean, you're in the core of discovering more and more about the strength right now, which doesn't mean you can't find some time where you go, I'd give cycling a try.